Holy cluck, guys! I'm Kathryn, and I have a hatching addiction. So, welcome to not only where the crazy train stops, but I'm pretty sure I am the engineer and this is the station. So, choo-choo, all aboard. So today I am talking all about incubating eggs. It's that time of year. We are all about growth on the homestead come spring and summer. And it tends to be a cyclical thing. So we'll grow our flock and our animals in general, and then come late fall and winter you start reducing. There's this natural ebb and flow of numbers, and the incubator has become an important part of my homestead tools. As I do have predation issues, I open range my flock, and so I'm constantly working on growth. And this incubator here has become my favorite. I started off with one of those cheap Chinese plastic incubators. Save your money, guys. They're not worth it. They are nothing but frustration, and you will be so much happier if you spend your money on something quality. So after I went Godzilla and killed my Chinese incubator, I invested in a Brinsea. And it was my fault. I ended up breaking that. I think my cat was up messing with it one night and got hair stuck into the fan, and then me being the fixer that I am, I tried to take it apart and I was unsuccessful about repairing it. So, not Brinsea's fault. They are a wonderful incubator. That was on me. So after I killed this really expensive incubator, I reached out to friends, and this particular model was highly recommended to me by friends that do large-scale hatching, and this is one of their backup incubators, or just if they're doing small batches, but they raise rare breed birds, and so I totally value and respect their opinion. And when she said go with this one, I went with this one, and this has been my model of just consistency and ease for the last, I think, 2.5 years, maybe 3 years. I've put a lot of mileage on this incubator, and it has stood the test of time. So this is an IncuView from Incubator Warehouse. I'm hoping to get an affiliate deal with them and or be a wholesaler, because I stand behind this product and absolutely love it. So if I do nail down that relationship, I will definitely put a link to it in the description. There is links to other products that we are affiliated with and or distribute in the description, and if you are inclined to help support our homestead in any way, shape, or form, that's one way you can do it. But anyways, I'm not selling this at this point, other than the fact that I absolutely love it. So incubators in general are pretty straightforward. Their sole purpose is to duplicate the environment from underneath a broody fill-in-the-blank bird. So be it chicken, duck, peafowl, whatever. So, and that's what I'm working on today, is peafowl. So these are my pea eggs, and I'm incubating them for a friend and then myself, because again, I'm crazy. So, but I had a batch in here of duck eggs. They were Muscovy eggs. I was super excited about them because I had Muscovy, lost them to predators. They're kind of big, slow birds, so they were easy to pick off. I have tons of predators. I mean, it's coyote, bobcat, hawks, owls, bear, mountain lion, you name it, it's probably in my backyard. And so that is a reality of my homestead. I'm at peace with that, and I do strategically plan my numbers around the fact that I am going to take losses. I am big on the fact that my birds open range. I don't even call it free ranging. They are fully free to come and go. They do have secure premises that they can go behind. I do have fencing that they're able to walk behind. They choose to kind of roam the yard, and I totally love seeing the freedom that they have. My chickens are chickens, my ducks are ducks. So, but I plan around that. So this tool here runs pretty much, it's not year round, but it's pretty steady from the first of the year through the middle of fall. And so there are a couple of factors that come into play when you're incubating. The two primary ones are humidity and temperature. And based on what you're incubating will determine primarily the humidity. Temperature is pretty consistent for most, well, in fact, for all birds that I've incubated, I keep it at 99.5 degrees. So the cheap plastic Chinese incubator was a nightmare to keep regulated. I had to constantly recalibrate it. The temperature was always going in and out. I didn't trust the gauges. In fact, I bought a backup, and I've since let it die, but this thing I put inside it because I didn't trust the gauges. So this is some cheapo something or another from Amazon, but it showed temperature and humidity. At the time, I just set it into the incubator and it gave me a secondary reading. I trust this machine so much that I've let the battery on this lapse and it no longer functions. But this has proven to be consistent and true for me. So the Brinsea was wonderful. It too was really consistent up until I killed it. So I want to show you this. Incubators are not really that complicated. I know there are ones you can make at home, so you don't necessarily have to spend the money. I'm a big advocate of trying things on the cheap, and then when you figure out that this is going to work for you, invest in something quality that will make your life easier. Because believe me, life is hard enough. Tools that help are amazing. So this guy here, I want to show you. So it's a lid, obviously, and this one here. So the Brinsea and the Chinese one, it showed a range on my humidity, whereas this one just shows it's got during hatch and then during lockdown. And so it's really simplistic. I just have to look at the little handle on here and it tells me if I need to add water or not. Because I don't have total faith in it, I do check and make sure there is water in the reservoirs. This thing has been so efficient. I only add water to it typically twice while I'm doing my hatch. So depending on what type of bird you're hatching, time frame will be, oh, that's what I wanted to show you. So you can see, you can set the hatch time on it, which I love. And this has an automatic turner, and I have it set that 3 days before the hatch, the turner stops moving. Technically, 3 days before hatch is called lockdown, and you are not supposed to open this at all. And the purpose of that is because inside the egg there is a membrane, and that membrane, the chicks of whatever form have to break through that membrane before they can get to the outer shell. And if you open this, if that membrane dries up, it will shrink wrap your bird inside the egg and they will be unable to hatch. So, fatal flaws. My Muscovies fully developed and they did not come through the shell. I gave them about an extra week. I know that because of my countdown. And I did an eggtopsy. So I opened up the eggs and I checked to see the status. Partly because it's important for you to know what's going on and why something didn't work, because you can't take corrective actions if you don't know what went wrong. And so I had fully formed ducklings, but they didn't hatch, and they were no longer alive when I opened up the eggs. And so I went to social media, love social media, because there are so many people out here who have had the same experience and can say, well, did you think about this? Did you try this? Did you do this? What was this? And so as I was going through my problem solving, here is what I came up with. I had the Muscovy eggs in here. They typically run about 32 days. Depending on what type of bird you are hatching, that time frame is going to vary. Chickens tend to take 21 days. Most ducks are 28 days. Muscovies, I think, are about 32 days off the top of my head. These are peafowl eggs. They are somewhere between 28 and 30 days. I did try and hatch some last year. I had, again, they made it all the way up through, about to hatch. That was my fault on my end because I was going to go visit Julie at Dirt Patch Heaven. They went about 2 days over what I thought was supposed to happen. I was leaving the following day, and I didn't want to leave an incubator full of bad eggs for my family for a week. I was just picturing like exploding eggs and grossness and smell. I refused to do that to my family, so I took them out. It turns out that these birds were fully formed. They would have hatched had I not destroyed them. So live and learn. I won't do that to these guys. But my Muscovy eggs, here's what I believe happened. I put my own personal duck eggs in with them. I did wait 2 days thinking that I was timing it right. I also thought that my personal eggs were infertile because they were mules, they're crosses. They were Muscovy and runner mixes, which I have been told creates a sterile offspring. And so I assumed that these eggs wouldn't hatch. And interestingly enough, I ended up with a chicken egg in the mix. And this chicken egg looked exactly like the duck egg. I questioned it when I put it in, and I was like, no, it's a duck egg. And so put it in there. 21 days in, I had a surprise chicken. And then I had a duckling hatch about 6 days later. And what I believe happened was, because hatching is kind of a dirty thing, it ends up with all sorts of stuff from inside the egg. And so it becomes a place where bacteria can grow. I mean, it's a perfect breeding ground for bacteria because it's wet and it's warm. And so what I believe happened, and I do not know this definitively, but I think that bacteria from my 2 hatches infected my Muscovy eggs, and it killed them. And I have noticed in the past that even when I put like all duck eggs or all chicken eggs, I tend to have a really successful first hatch, and then a couple eggs left behind, and then for whatever reason they don't do as well. And so in my mind, I am kind of thinking that that may be my issue. So I will avoid that to the best of my abilities in the future. Typically, I am told that you do not clean your eggs prior to putting them in. And you definitely don't want to like soak your eggs. They're porous. That water will seep into the insides, and you don't want anything that's going to mess with the integrity of your egg. Reaching out to friends and trying to figure out why my eggs aren't hatching in this last go round, I was told that by several friends that they've had great success by lightly cleaning the surface with either a diluted bleach solution, or in this case I am going to use diluted hydrogen peroxide. And I am not going to scrub the eggs, I'm not going to soak the eggs, I am just going to get this rag wet, wipe the surface of the eggs, and then put them in. And I'm hoping that that will kill and eliminate any possible bacteria on the surface of the egg. So the pea eggs themselves are relatively fresh. You don't want to use old eggs. You want to use, your viability is going to go down the older they are, so I try to use everything at least within a week before I put it into the incubator. I don't want old eggs, so anything over 2 weeks I definitely wouldn't try and incubate. You would probably still have some success, but you're going to have greater success if you've got fresher eggs. So these are all from this week, and I am going to get them going. Pea eggs take approximately 28 to 30 days. I'm super excited about this hatch because I've never had baby peas on the property, so that's going to be a ton of fun. So I just wanted to show you what all is involved here. So I showed you the lid here. Inside here, this tray is where the eggs sit. And it's got that little slot. This little arm here slides into it, and that is what turns the eggs. So there's a tray down here that separates the water just to keep this kind of floating on top of it so it's not sitting in a puddle of water. And then I've got my water reservoir below. So pretty easy. And you could come up with a homemade system, but this makes my whole life a whole lot easier. It's a set it and forget it, walk away and check it here and there, and then I have baby birds. So, I do typically get my incubator plugged in and up and running about 24 to 48 hours before I put anything into it, and that way temperature and humidity is stabilized. I know for sure that my incubator is working and that I don't have any issues, and so I highly recommend that you don't just plug it in and then pop eggs into it. You want to make sure that you've got proper environment. So that is all I've got for you guys today. I hope this was something of value. If you would please watch other videos that I have put out. I've got a ton of homesteading content. I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride, and we shall see you later.